week 3 of the fantasy football season, and here's a few quarterbacks I have as sleepers this week. The first guy, Joe Flacco of the New York Jets. So far, the Jets 1-1 on the season, and Joe Flacco, for the most part, he's played pretty decent football, I believe, the first 2 weeks of the season. Week 1 versus the Ravens, 309 pass yards, a touchdown and an interception in that one. Obviously, it was a tough loss, 24-9, but the Jets had a couple opportunities in that game, and they did drop a few passes in week 1, including Michael Carter. He had a walk-in touchdown that he dropped in the end zone there. And then week 2 at Cleveland, a great come-from-behind victory where Joe Flacco had a huge fantasy day in that one. 307 pass yards, 4 touchdowns, 6 rushing yards, and a fumble loss. So right here in week 3, a mediocre matchup versus the Cincinnati Bengals. I think the Bengals could have a good day, but it wouldn't be surprising to me that we could see a lot of garbage time where Joe Flacco has to drop back and throw a lot of passes. And so far, the Jets are amongst the league leaders in throwing the football this season with 103 pass attempts. So right now, reports are coming out that Zach Wilson might come back in week 4 here. But Joe Flacco, he's actually got a good rapport with some of these wide receivers on this Jet team. Like Garrett Wilson, we saw him have a big 2-touchdown game in Davis the first 2 weeks of the season. Have had a good game. So right now, Joe Flacco available in tons of fantasy leagues at 94%. If you need a guy in a pinch here at the quarterback position, if you're in a deeper league, injuries, or a 2-quarterback league, he could be definitely a sleeper option, because I think we could see garbage time from him, or just in general, he's going to be throwing the football a lot no matter what in this ball game to try to stay pace with this Bengal offense. The next quarterback's Daniel Jones of the New York Giants. So Daniel Jones, so far the first early going of the season, it hasn't been great for him, but this Giant team is 2-0 in the early going. Week 1 at the Titans, 189 pass yards, 2 touchdowns and into 25 rush yards, a 2-point conversion, and a fumble loss. And week 2 versus the Panthers, 176 pass yards, a touchdown, and 21 rushing yards. So right here, Daniel Jones, we know he looks to run a lot. He's not a running quarterback, I would say, but they do have some plays in the playbook where he's going to take it himself and run the football, or even to get away from a sack or defenders here. Daniel Jones takes it and runs. So right here in week 3, he is familiar with this Dallas Cowboy defense. But for the most part here, this Cowboy team, they've beaten the Giants a lot over the last 5 seasons here. And Daniel Jones on Monday Night Football on this Giant team trying to go to 3-0. And I think both quarterbacks have a sneaky one. In this one, I think Jones is a sleeper option. If you need 15, 20 points, I think he could get that for fantasy owners here. I know it's a pretty tough matchup with a good pass rush with the Cowboys, who so far they've held the opponents down 19 points in week 1 to Tampa Bay, in week 2, 17 to Cincinnati. But I think Jones in this one, he's familiar with their defense, and he can make a few plays, especially with his legs. We've seen him make plays over the last few years here. But right now, if you're in a pinch for a quarterback, I would go with Daniel Jones. And the third and final quarterback I have as a sleeper option this week's Cooper Rush of the Dallas Cowboys. So this Giant team so far, the defense, they've been playing hard. They've been keeping their team close, and then the Giants pulled out the first 2 games of the season. So right here, Cooper Rush last week in his Dallas debut had a pretty decent ball game. I thought he looked comfortable early in the game driving with this Cowboy team. And then second half, it slowed down for him, but he got them down the field in a game-winning drive with Brett Maher hitting the game-winning field goal. So last week in the start for Dak Prescott, 235 pass yards, a touchdown, and 2 rushing yards. So week 3 at the Giants, I think he could make some plays in this ball game. CeeDee Lamb and him had a decent rapport. Noah Brown had a great ball game, 5 catches, 91 yards, and a touchdown. I know Dalton Schultz is probably going to be out of this game, but Tony Pollard as well can make a difference in the passing game. And Michael Gallup, he's practiced the first couple days of the week here, and it looks like he's going to be back in the starting lineup as well, even though it might be limited a little bit here. But it's another weapon to add to this Cowboy offense, and I think Cooper Rush in 2 quarterback leagues or deeper leagues is a decent sleeper option, available in 97% of leagues. So that's a few quarterbacks I have as sleepers here for week 3 of the fantasy football season.